Welcome into a Thursday action right here on the best podcast you're going to find anywhere on YouTube, the BAMA Elite Touchdown Alabama Magazine, bringing this one here to you. Got the man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, right here with me. I'm yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. And before we get this thing popping here, talking Bama, Texas A&M, big recruiting weekend, Bryce Young, Jalen Milroe, which quarterback will go against the A&M. Got to remind you, as the people out there, if you can't catch the Bama Elite, we want you to catch us, right? But if you can't catch the Bama Elite, here's what you do. You go to the Big Game College Football Podcast Network and audio stream for the best college football coverage in the South. So if you can't catch the Bama Elite, every Thursday and Sunday, you check out the Big Game College Football Podcast Network and audio stream for the best coverage of college football in the South. With that being said, we turn to my man Justin Smith. Justin, man, happy Thursday to you. What's going on?
Excited to be on here with you again, as always, here at the Only Bama Elite Podcast. Excited to get into this Alabama-Texas A&M matchup. A lot of questions around the quarterback position in terms of Jalen Milroe. Bryce Young, excited to get into that and also talk a little recruiting, which is something we haven't done a lot on the Bama Elite Podcast, but there's a lot to talk about in the world of recruiting when it comes to this weekend.
Oh, absolutely, Justin. So we'll start things off with the thing everybody wants to know, and that's Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe, which quarterback will take the field against Texas A&M. People are not one for speculation at times. Nick Saban, not one for that either. He has talked about it all week that Young is listed as day-to-day with a sprained AC joint in his throwing shoulder, suffered that against Arkansas in the second quarter, was trying to elude or get away from Drew Sanders, but unfortunately that did not happen. Landed there on his throwing shoulder, did not return to action, although he was on the sideline, pumping up the teammates, things of that nature. We did see Jalen Milroe go out there, stabilize the ship, keep everything in order, was able to snatch momentum away from Arkansas with that 77-yard run and helping Alabama get the 49-26 win. But this week, the question has become, will it be Milroe or will it be, Bryce Young? And Saban has done a lot of gamesmanship this week in practice. He hasn't shown photos of quarterbacks. We expected that. He hasn't shown video of quarterbacks, and we expected that too. So even though Bryce has done a little bit more each day in practice, what I've gathered from sources, people that I've talked to, very credible within the program, the conversation has been Jalen Milroe looks to be the guy that will get the start in this game against A&M. Bryce Young will go if he's needed to get out there, but from what I'm being told, I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be Milroe's game against A&M, and Bryce Young will be reserved or saved for the Tennessee matchup the following week, because that game in Rocky Top is going to be something crazy right there. But that's what I'm being told for right now, Justin.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I expected, like you said, Nick Saban to show some gamemanship throughout this entire week. Not showing any footage of quarterbacks. When wide receivers are on film, you basically see them getting the ball thrown to them by ghosts, it seems, because the ball just comes out of nowhere. So we see Alabama and Nick Saban using that gamesmanship, like I said, which is what we all expected. Even going back to his press conference, I think on Monday, I think he took a shot at the media, said he read something in the newspaper, said he's going to keep it private, what was going on with Bryce Young. I don't think we expect him to keep it private in terms of saying he's day-to-day, but he has kept it private in terms of the public videos and the public photos. He has kept it pretty private, which is what I thought he would do in terms of this situation. But it is really interesting that they may lean towards Jalen Milroe. I think going back to the Arkansas game, he showed that he can make some plays with his feet. I think his arm and his passing ability is developing at a nice pace. I think if Alabama had a game plan more fit to his strengths, I think he will have more success. And I think that is something that Alabama is going to try to roll out this weekend if he does get the nod to start. So I'm excited to see what he can do with the game plan more tilted towards his playing style and what he brings to the table, going up against a Texas A&M Aggies team who has not played at their best at times this season, but it is no doubt in anyone's mind that they have the talent to put it together, and they are going up against Alabama similar to last year. They're going to give Alabama their best shot. So I know a lot of people are saying this, like Paul Feinbaum, for example, saying this could be a cupcake game for the Crimson Tide. I think it could be, once again, a trap game for Alabama like last year. I think the Aggies will definitely give Alabama their best shot, and they'll definitely have to come to play. So it'll be interesting to see how they work a game plan with Jalen Milroe center their game plan around his strengths.
Well, Justin, both defenses will be preparing for different quarterbacks. If you look at Alabama's defense, they're preparing for who they could face in this matchup. Max Johnson, news has come out. He has an injury, and he looks to be out for the season. I think it's either a broken finger or a hand injury on Max Johnson that was reported today. I know for A&M, Haynes King, who started the year, went down with an injury. I don't know if he's back at this point, but it seems like Jimbo Fisher may be trotting out a true freshman for the matchup against Alabama. And when you trot out a true freshman inside Bryant Denny for a night game, you're just basically you just basically have Will Anderson and Dallas Turner going, come on down here, come on. You just basically, putting, Will Anderson and Dallas Turner right there where they want to be at. And that's getting after the quarterback. But going back to the Arkansas game, Justin, it just seemed like with Jalen Milroe in there, the offensive line knew we can flex some muscle here. We can run the ball. Because a lot of times with Bryce, Bryce holds the ball to where the offensive line is like, do we run block? Do we pass block? Do we run block? Do we pass block? And they're kind of caught in translation there. But with Milroe, I feel like this front line fully knows we can run block. We can put a man on a man. We can mash. We can seal. We can pull around. We can counter trade. We can put all of these blocks together to not only open up the rushing attack for Jahmyr Gibbs, Jace McClellan, and others, but also the running game here of one Milroe himself. So I feel like when you look at this A&M matchup, seeing how A&M's defensive front is a talented group but a young group, do you see this being more of just mash and maul and just run football here?
If Jalen Milroe is the quarterback, I definitely see that using those stable of running backs that Alabama has to their advantage, using those offensive linemen the way that they want to be used. They want to make those nasty blocks, dominate defensive linemen. I think that is something that they love to do. Like you say, when you are pass blocking, specifically for Bryce, when he holds on to the football, keeping his eyes downfield, which is what makes him special, which is why he is so talented. He can make plays on the run, continue to hit wide receivers in stride while he's working down the field, working through his progression and holding on to the football as long as possible, staying in the pocket as long as possible, not even running when he has run lanes. I'm pretty sure that is something that can get offensive linemen frustrated a little bit and get them on the tired side because you have to block for a very long time. But when you get a guy like Jalen Milroe in the game, you do feel that Alabama will want to make the run game his best friend, especially with the way Jahmyr Gibbs played the last game and the holes that he was able to run through. I'm pretty sure that's something Alabama feels that their offensive line class has continued, offensive line group as a whole has continued to get better at. So I think this will be more so of a running attack with those running backs and also with Jalen Milroe. He's a special talent in terms of running the football, has great explosive type of speed, difference making speed. Like I said on our last episode of the process, if he gets it together in terms of passing the football, we're looking at a highlight waiting to happen, just a human highlight reel, if so to say, in terms of what he will do with his feet and with his arms as he continues to make progress. So I think if Jalen Milroe gets the nod, I think the Tide will come out with more of a rushing attack, give him opportunity to run the football on some design quarterback runs, wherever that may be, probably get the football and just run it with the type of speed he has, but also read options. So I think the Crimson Tide will have a lot on the ground in terms of Jalen Milroe if he gets to start.
So, Justin, sticking with that right there, if he gets to start there, if you're Bill O'Brien, if you're the offensive coordinator for Alabama, how would you incorporate those RPO packages in terms of getting him the best pass plays that he feels comfortable with? Because naturally, if you have a quarterback that likes to run, the defense is going to say, okay, let's put 7 to 8 guys in the box and dare you to beat me throwing. Dare you to beat me being accurate, passing the football, distributing this ball. So for Bill O'Brien, how do you see him going about constructing, if I can say this, constructing the best 7 to 8 or 10, pass option plays that Milroe could feel the most comfortable with?
I think similar to what we saw last game against Arkansas, it seems that the Crimson Tide like to see him hit the slant on the RPO. I think they like to have the screen game incorporated into their offense, but of course, I think they would try some different things. We saw him hit, I think, Isaiah Bond on a comeback route, on a short route there. He did try to hit Jermaine Burton. Unfortunately, the ball was a bit underthrown, so I think it'll be interesting to see how Bill O'Brien will incorporate Jalen Milroe. I'm not sure about the entire package because, like Nick Saban said in the press conference, they do have a package. This package has been in their offense throughout fall camp. So this is not something that they are just pulling out of the closet trying to put it together this week. This is something they have practiced, not probably as much throughout the season because Bryce Young was there, but it was something that was incorporated, installed during fall camp. So they're going to pull it back up. So I think it'll be interesting to see that full package out in the open, but I do feel it will be a lot of runs, a lot of different running plays. I think it will be a lot of underneath stuff. If I had to make a guess, some easy throws for Jalen Milroe to make as he gets more comfortable. But I do feel he will get some shots down the field. He's not consistently accurate down the field, but he has made some good throws down the field in the past. So we'll see what he can do as a full package is laid out for him.
So just as we kind of flip this to Alabama's defense, because you look at this game, Devon A-Chain is a speed demon for A&M. I mean, this is a guy that really torched Alabama a season ago, him and also Anaya Smith. So when you look at A-Chain, who can catch the ball out the backfield as a receiver, who runs the ball with good speed, really good power, really good on special teams. I think he had like a kick return for a touchdown last year of 96 yards. How does Alabama's defense combat that, especially after giving up, 101 yards rushing to Raheem Sanders of Arkansas just a week ago? How will this run defense be able to clean up here against a speedster like A-Chain?
You're going to take a team effort, similar to ways that teams try to stop Jameer Gibbs. Going to be a complete team effort on the defensive side of football. He's a guy who you do not want to get into the open field because, similar to Gibbs, he can create space and leave you in the dust as well. So he's a speedy and explosive back. So when it comes to linebackers, you're going to need them to make some plays possibly in the backfield, which is something that we haven't seen them do a lot. So the Tide will definitely benefit from them making some plays on him in the backfield, and especially the defensive line getting some penetration, trying to blow up things early, because if he gets started and gets into open space, he's really, really dangerous. So I think it's going to be a team effort to stop him from getting outside, to stop him from getting to the second level, because like you said, he is a speedy, explosive guy who does most of his damage when he gets some open space, which is why he's so talented as a returner, because returners are guys who can do some things in space, similar to why Kool-Aid McKinstry is such a dynamic player with the football in his hands, because he has complete control, nice vision, great cutback ability. I think he is a guy like that for Texas A&M. So he's going to be one of those prospects you're going to have to contain and slow down that Texas A&M offense. Like you said, their quarterback position is, in terms of their depth, is in a similar situation to what Alabama is in with Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe. So they will most likely try to lean on their run game as much as possible as well. They have a young team in general that's going back to their loaded 2022 recruiting class, the number one recruiting class in the nation. It looks as if they try to incorporate as much as those guys into their game plan as much as possible. So this is a young team heading into Bryant-Denny Stadium. But if they do have a young freshman quarterback, possibly, I do feel they will lean more so on their running back's ability.
We got a little thing here from Gears of War, Phoenix Edition 2. Gears of War writes in his score prediction 49-10 Bama. He's got Bama 49-10 over A&M. Sweet Home Bama 22 has Road Tide Thursday. Road Tide to you as well. Sweet Home Bama 22. So just before we get into our thing here with prize picks, Jim McEwen writes in, Jimbo could have had, he says Jimbo could have had an on-campus raffle to see who their quarterback was for this one. That's how bad the offense is. That's Jim McEwen giving his thoughts in right there. But Justin, as we look at this week in terms of recruiting, a lot of visitors, a lot of targets, a lot of guys will be in Tuscaloosa. It looks like a loaded roster. You have been able to watch this closely on this trail for the 2023 class. Who are going to be making the visits here for Alabama and taking on A&M?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a loaded weekend of visitors. We will have a more in-depth breakdown on the episode of the process a little later tonight. But this weekend is shaping up to be the Crimson Tide's biggest recruiting weekend of the season in terms of official visitors. You get Keon Keeley, the 2023 five-star edge rusher. You have Deuce Robinson, who's a 2023 tight end, who is not verbally committed to any program at the moment out of the West Coast of the Crimson Tide. Really seem to like to have him on campus. Cormoney McClain, the 2023 five-star defensive back out of Florida, was originally set to officially visit Alabama this weekend, but he has pulled off of those plans. I do feel he will get to Tuscaloosa again on another date, but Cormoney McClain is not expected to take his official visit to Tuscaloosa on this weekend. Most of the Crimson Tide's 2023 verbal commits will be in Tuscaloosa, including Miles McVay and Raymond Polito, two four-star offensive linemen who will take their official visit to Alabama this weekend. The Crimson Tide's two quarterback commits Dylan Lonergan. Eli Hosting will be on campus. Richard Young, Justice Haynes, Raquez McElderry, Cole Adams. So most of the Crimson Tide's 2023 recruiting class will be on campus to go along with Keon Keeley, Deuce Robinson, show them what they can possibly join if they were to commit to Alabama in the future. But there will be some talented underclassmen on campus as well, including a couple five stars and Ellis Robinson, who's a 2023 five-star, 2024 five-star defensive back out of IMG Academy. You have KJ Bolden, who's another five-star athlete out of Bruford High School. You have a guy like Malik Blockton out of Pipe Road High School in Pipe Road, Alabama, is a guy to watch out for. Jamarion Burnett, another high-ranking 2024 four-star running back who will be in Tuscaloosa on this weekend. Jaron Hamilton is a speedy 2023 wide receiver who the Crimson Tide really like, an explosive guy who can create separation off the line of scrimmage, and he have next level game breaking 4.3 type of speed at the wide receiver position. I know Alabama currently has Cole Adams, Jalen Hale, Malik Benson verbally committed, but Jaron Hamilton is a guy they will still take a verbal commitment from. He'll be in Tuscaloosa on this weekend to take an official visit. He'll return for the Iron Bowl to take an official visit. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out, but this is easily shaking up to be the Crimson Tide's biggest recruiting weekend of the season, long list of five-star recruits, with Keon Keeley, one of the Crimson Tide's top remaining priority targets, leading the way and headlining this list of visitors.
Well, folks, if you haven't done so, you got to check out my man Justin Smith here of TDA, lead scouting and recruiting analyst on his show, The Process, every Tuesday and Thursday as he breaks down recruiting like no other does. A lot of thoughts here in the chat coming in about Tyler Harrell. Is this the week where the speed transfer receiver from Louisville, is this his week? He's practiced all week. Tyler Harrell, number 8, has practiced all week for the Tide. So this is the week that set up for him. He should play this week. We will see if he takes the field, but this is projected. This should be his week where he makes that debut. Now, a lot of people felt like he and JoJo Earl both would play against Arkansas. JoJo Earl did play. Tyler Harrell did not make the trip. So this is set up to be the week that, Tyler Harrell, it takes that field. So hopefully we do see him. Mr. Moore writes in his score prediction, 63-13, Bama over A&M. Appreciate Mr. Moore with that 63-13 prediction right there. Also, Richard G has 38-13 in favor of the Crimson Tide over A&M. Richard G, 38-13. Of course, King Joe wrote in, who's playing Jalen or Bryce. Justin and I recently, we that was the first thing we started the conversation off with. Bryce Young still listed as day-to-day, doing more things in practice. But from what I have been told from people very close, knitted here, connected here inside the program, it looks like Jalen Milroe will get the go, and Bryce Young will play if needed, if necessary. Alabama more so wants to reserve him for the Tennessee matchup in the following week here. But before we get into a little bit of prediction things, Justin, and kind of put a wrap on this, our guys at Prize Picks, they do a tremendous job having us some fun here in terms of these games with the more or less value. Tell us about our guys at Prize Picks, Justin.
Yeah. I guys at Price Picks. It's a daily fantasy app you guys can download, play along with us here at the BAMA Elite Podcast. Of course, Prize Picks entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. You download Prize Picks today and play daily fantasy sports with us. Make sure to use our promo code BAMA100. Again, that code is BAMA100. With that code, when you sign up, you get a 100% deposit match. So be sure to sign up for Prize Picks today. It is an easy daily fantasy app that you can use in multiple states across the country. In the app, the daily fantasy app for Prize Picks, you basically project whether the player projected stats will be more or less. For example, if the projected Bryce Young pass yards are projected at 165, if you think if you have more than 165 yards, you put your daily fantasy projection in there. Say you feel you have more than 165 yards. You feel he will less than 165 passing yards. You put your projection in there as well. So it's a great app for Alabama fans, getting opportunity to play along with us. Alabama college football across the board, multiple sports you guys can play along with. Not only college football, you have NFL, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis. So Prize Picks has you covered all over the board. So be sure to download Prize Picks. And like I said, you use our promo code BAMA100. All first-time users who use that code will have a instant deposit match up to $100. So thanks to our partners at Prize Picks.
Prize Picks, keeping us informed right there. Appreciate Justin reading that out to us. A thought comes in from Paul Malone on the chat. He's referring to, will Alabama see the quarterback that came from LSU in the matchup against Texas A&M? Malone referring to Max Johnson, who played at LSU last season before transferring. Johnson has an injury, according to reports right now. He's out for the foreseeable future. He will not, looks like he will not play against Alabama. Max Johnson will not play. So this could mean that Jimbo Fisher trots out the true freshman quarterback for the Aggies against Alabama. We got some more score predictions here. We got Guy Garza, who has 52-13, Bama. Appreciate Guy Garza writing in there. Then we have MCK, 1914, who writes in 28-17 in favor of the Crimson Tide. They got this game pretty close there, 28-17 in favor of Alabama. Mark Hamrick writes in, Milroe can run like the wind, especially for a quarterback. So he's all for, Jalen Milroe possibly getting the start here, in this game. Then we got the godfather of the SEC writing in. We have no love for Texas A&M. We'll boo Dumbo out of the stadium Saturday night. So he's already getting ready to take on Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies. But as we get to now, our prediction moment here, Justin. Well, wait a minute. Sean Taylor writes in 52-14 in favor of Bama, and Marcus Stanley writes in a heavy dose of McClellan and Gibbs. Key here of that being the run game and a heavy dose of the offensive line, being able to put a man on a man led by Seth McLaughlin, getting those blocks and play those blocks in queue and having that success there. So as we look at this game, Justin, from a prediction standpoint here, a lot of people feel like, A&M should be 2-3 instead of 3-2. They got the win over Arkansas. Arkansas could have won that game. It should have won that game, but nonetheless, A&M is 3-2. The Aggies brought in the number one recruiting class for 2022 after the win over Alabama last year, 41-38 at Cal Field. We saw the whole dust up there in the spring between Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban. We saw at SEC Media Days the responses that Will Anderson and Bryce Young and Jordan Battle provided there in Atlanta. So throwing this over to you, Justin, what would be the prediction you have? First off, what's the line on this game? Because I haven't seen the line yet at all. So what's the line on this? Does Alabama cover this line? What's your prediction and your offensive and defensive player of the game?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about the line either. If you guys have it, please drop it in the comment section. But I usually go with the first prediction that comes to mind, which is usually what usually what I have the most success with. So I'm thinking around 45-14. I think Alabama makes a statement in this matchup, just dominates the Aggies just based on having some extra motivation heading into this matchup. I feel this matchup will be a lot bigger if the Aggies had more success earlier in the season, just based on the whole Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher feud and that fire up that we had during the off season. But I do feel the game has lost some of its juice because the Texas A&M Aggies are not as successful as we thought they would be heading into this game. So I'm thinking around 45-14. I think Alabama comes out and make a dominant statement with this win, try to dominate the Aggies as much as possible, try to make a statement. If I had to pick a player of the game here, offensive player of the game, if Jalen Milroe gets a start, I'm going to go with Jalen Milroe. I think he showed that he can be an explosive playmaker with the offense that I think is more catered to Bryce Young's strength, that game plan heading into Arkansas, with him getting most likely more snaps this week, get a game plan that's more tailored to his abilities. I'm going with Jalen Milroe as my offensive player of the game. On the defensive side of the football, I think Will Anderson is going to try to make a statement here. I think he has shown everyone knows that he's the most dominant player in college football, but I think he still has some noise to make this season in terms of having bigger games and bigger moments. And I think this is going to be one of those games.
Absolutely. So apparently, so Justin, appreciate our listeners here in the chat. They dropped in the line. It's 24 to 24 and a half. 24 to 24 and a half is the line there in favor of Alabama. As far as my prediction here, I agree with you, Justin. There's a lot of buildup because of what happened last year. A lot of the players have talked about, the bad taste at the loss left in everybody's mouth a season ago. So for me, I've got the score 52 to 10. I've got 52 to 10, Bama over A&M, 52 to 10. My offensive player of the game here, I'm going to go Milroe as well. I'm going to go Milroe as well. So my mic just failed. I'm going to go Milroe as well. I'm excited for Milroe to see, what he's going to be able to do here in this matchup, getting his first start, big game experience for him. As far as my defensive player of the game, I'm going to roll like this. With Justin Eboigbe out with a neck injury, I'm going to go Jamil Burroughs. I think he's going to have a chance here. He's going to get playing time. We saw in the last game against Arkansas, he only had 8 snaps, but he had 3 quarterback pressures and a quarterback hit and very small snaps there. So with Eboigbe out, I'm going to go with Jamil Burroughs here, defensive player of the game, making some huge disruptions there up front. So I still can see Will Anderson making that statement also, but offensive player of the game, give me Milroe. Defensive player of the game, give me Jamil Burroughs.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, definitely solid picks. Saw Burrow getting more snaps in the last game due to, like you said, Justin Eboigbe being out with that neck injury. So we'll hopefully see him get some more snaps on this upcoming matchup. So I think you have some solid picks, and I think we're both excited to see if Jalen Milroe will get the nod, and excited to watch him play because he is an exciting quarterback to watch with a different type of speed to him.
Oh, absolutely. And then we got Marcus Stanley writing back in. I'm ready to see Kool-Aid finally get that punt return touchdown. This is the game. And McKinstry's been close. McKinstry's been close quite a few times. I mean, against Louisiana Monroe, he's been close. Against quite a couple of teams, he's been close to busting one back for a touchdown here. So I think this could be the game against Texas A&M where McKinstry brings one back. Willie 351 writes in, Bryce not playing? Well, as of right now, still listed as day-to-day, according to Coach Saban, listed as day-to-day. But once again, what I have been told is, Milroe's kind of been getting those first team reps there. So we shall see. Bryce could go out there if he is needed, but we will see how this transpires right now. The players have been talking about all week. We got confidence in Milroe. We know he can do it. We believe in him. Coach Saban has talked about it. The players around Milroe know what they need to do. They believe in what his skill set is and what he can bring here to the table. So it's crazy. So it's going to be interesting. And once again, Willie 351 writes in, Milroe did not panic, and that's what matters. Milroe didn't panic. He did not panic against Arkansas. He came in, he settled the ship, he made sure the offense intact in pocket. Yes, there are things mechanic-wise passing that he's got to get better, fine-tune, and tweak. And I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to be able to fine-tune those things. I think it's a conversation that he's having with Bill O'Brien on this is what he likes, this is what he feels comfortable with. So I feel like if O'Brien and Milroe can put together, 8 to 10, vertical passing plays that Milroe feels the best comfortable with, I think they'll be able to roll with that. Appreciate my man Matt here with that $4.99 donation to the BAMA Elite. Appreciate Matt, having us that donation right there, showing love to the show. Well, Justin, we're going to have a great game on our hands on Saturday. I know you're going to be doing the watch party thing with my man John Ivory of TDA. That's going to be fun. I will be inside the action at Bryant-Denny, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time, prime time matchup at Bryant-Denny and under the LED Night and Show between Bama and Texas A&M. Should be a good one. Well, folks, this is going to do it here for the Bama Elite Podcast. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Enjoy the matchup between Bama and A&M on Saturday. We'll be back Sunday for the recap. Until then, it's been the Bama Elite.